Hello everybody, my name is Alex Schiller and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about PC building, PC customization, and PC upgrades, mostly because I have been wanting to upgrade my rig for quite some time now, and some money, thank you US government, has come into my account that allows me to do so. And so I am going to take those three main components that I'm going to be upgrading, which are my CPU, my GPU, and my power supply, and I'm going to be putting them into a new rig to build my brother because he doesn't have his own rig. He's been wanting to play some PC games. His friends play PC games, and so I figured it'd be a nice thing to do instead of tossing my parts or selling them for money, recycling them into a new PC and allowing them to not gather dust and actually be used for somebody who will appreciate their value. So let's get started by compiling all of the little different things that I'm going to need to build his PC. All right, so I am going to be focusing on these three parts that I'm pulling out of my PC, which is the Ryzen 5 1600, phenomenal CPU, 6 cores, 3.2 gigahertz, absolutely phenomenal price to performance CPU, especially for newer games that are requiring more CPU cores, as well as he's expressed want and desire to make YouTube videos and Twitch streams and stuff like that, kind of like I do. So the 6 cores will be great for editing and streaming as well. The RX 590 is not too far off of the generations that we are at right now. The 590 is a essentially overclocked 580 without being overclocked, so stably overclocked, I guess you could say. And it's been honestly a workhorse for me after I upgraded from my 580, and it's been really, really good to me. So I'm going to keep it there. I think this will be a good GPU for him for a long time. He plays a lot of AAA titles that are really well optimized for lower end GPUs. And so even though this is the high end at its day, like its time and peak, we have the 3080 series or the 30 series and the 6000 series from AMD now. So it's a little outdated, but it'll get him through most of his games. The Corsair CXM 550 power supply. Like I said, it's been running this build for a while. I would feel bad if I had been running this power supply for like a year or two and giving him kind of an old used power supply, but I've only been using this power supply for like 4 months, 5 months now, so I don't feel too bad about it. It'll be about a year and a half anyway before he decides to get an upgrade, or I feel that he needs an upgrade. So let's get started into the parts that he's actually going to need to buy, or that I'm going to buy for him rather, to kind of round out his build and make sure that he is set up for success. So I use PC Part Picker to build any of my PCs, and I think it's a really, really good system for checking compatibility, which is the huge thing here, and then being able to sift through all of your pricing options and stuff like that as you're looking to build, whether it's a rig that you can afford or just something within a budget. It allows you to kind of build everything up. As you've noticed, I've set everything as purchased so far so that it's not adding to our total at the end here. So let's get into the motherboard. This is going to be huge. So the big thing that we need to look for in the motherboard is two things, really. I'm going to go 4 different brands. I'm going to go ASRock, Asus, Gigabyte, and MSI. Those 4 brands I find are really, really reputable. We're going to go a micro ATX board just because he doesn't need that big of a case. He needs to save a little bit of space on his desk. He's building his own little setup, which is awesome, but he needs to save a little space somewhere. We're also going to go for the B450 motherboard series just because he doesn't need that 550 quite yet. He's not going to 3rd generation at all. So we'll go Wi-Fi 5 here. We want it to be able to have Wi-Fi because he is not anywhere close to any Ethernet ports for the house, and so I want him to be able to have that access to him. We have the Gigabyte B450M. It's actually a really basic looking board. It's got 4 DIMM slots, which is okay. All this here, I do want to see the I/O at some point. It does not support above 3000 megahertz RAM, which might be a problem. We might have to go to the Bazooka here because it will support up to 4000, which is excellent. We don't want to go to somebody's profile. We've got 1 Gen 1 header, 0 Gen 2, bunch of USB 2 headers, Wi-Fi 5, which is great. A lot of good reviews, a lot of 5, 4-star, no 1 or 2s, only a 3-star. I am curious what that 3-star is, though. It's fine. Basically, the only option in the max lineup that was worth price, was lackluster. And the lack of M.2 heatsink is annoying. That's kind of nitpicky. And Wi-Fi is fast. MSI Dragon Center is hot garbage, but necessary to get the RGB headers working. OpenRGB does not support this board. VR temps hit about so he won't be able to do a lot of overclocking with this board, but he's not going to understand how to do that, so I'm not too worried about it. M.2 heatsink is boring. Like, that's annoying. I can configure this even though it's a shitty software. So we'll just go with that board. It's good to spend a little bit of money on the board. So like when you're buying a motherboard, it's not something that you should necessarily skimp on because you're going to want features for upgradability in the future. One of the things that I'm struggling with my build right now is the fact that I'm using a 450 board as well, but I'm going to the 3rd generation of Ryzen 3600 versus the 1600 I had in my build, just to get a little bit of boosted performance. And the one thing that I am struggling with is the fact that a lot of boards aren't necessarily supportive of the 3000 series. Luckily, the one I already have in my system is supported by that, but if it didn't, through BIOS updates, it's had a BIOS update about 3 times to be able to work with matrices CPUs. But anyway, he's using a single series Ryzen 5, so I'm not too worried about it. The 450 motherboard is going to get everything that he needs out of it. The Wi-Fi is going to be super huge there. Let's get him some pretty fast RAM. A lot of people will say you need to skimp on RAM, like try and find a cheapo DIMM kit. I don't think that's the case. I think we're going to get him 2 8 gig sticks, and we're going to try and find something that is at the 3200 range at least. That's where my DIMM sticks are at right now, and they're actually working really, really well for this CPU. I don't like a 8-out looks okay. Kingston Hyperfury X 3200 would not be problematic, I don't think. G-Skill, those just look dumb. We'll go set that $5 that I want to save, though. I don't really think so. I think we're okay. Okay, we'll go Kingston HyperX Fury 32. CL16 is not great. So maybe we go 3600 on the RAM instead of 3200. Let's do that there. And then 2 8GB sticks. And that should get him a little bit better price to performance and not worry about CL16 because that's a little bit slow. So we'll just go with the Corsair Vengeance LPX kit. I think that is a little bit more money, but I think a little bit worth it for this build, just to, have that speed and RAM so he can play things efficiently and not have to worry about crashing as often. Brings us to about $175.97. That's not too bad for the parts that we already have. We only really have to add storage and a case at this point, and I think it'll be good to go. I already have a CPU cooler for the AMD Ryzen 5 1600 just because I'm using the same CPU cooler that it came with. And then obviously when I buy my 3600, it'll come with the same cooler. So I'm honestly just going to take the one that's off that CPU right now, reapply some thermal paste, scrape it off, and then throw it up. We're going to go storage. I believe this board has I should check if it has. I think we saw that it did. Yeah, so it's got an M.2 slot right there. So we're going to want to put an NVMe SSD in here. A lot of people would say that's kind of overboard for a little brother, and I would agree. But at the same time, I would also say that that's kind of a standard now for bootable SSDs. And so we're going to use that, I think, to get ourselves started. Not a lot of USB 3s, only 4 USB 3s and 4 USB 2s. Some audio, the Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and then you've got a PCE port or something. I forget what that's called. What is that called? I think it's called PC. I'm not sure. Anyway, so this board does have NVMe. So we are going to go ahead and grab a M.2 slot based NVMe storage solution. I'm wondering if this has 256 gig option. It does have a 250 gig option. How much is it though? $139. That, my dear friends, I can tell you is a fuck no from me. All right, let's go ahead and go the SSD route. These form factors. these interfaces, they'll both work. We're going to go a little bit further down. We want capacity to be at least 256. And then we'll take it down to 500 if I can get a good $500 price. 7 rocket, 13, 8 to 9 inland. I don't want to go there. A data would probably be best bet here. 9 people seem to like it. All 5 reviews. Alright, let's go ahead and do this as the boot drive here. So he's going to have a 256 gig boot drive, and you're saying, well, if he wants to play any game, he's going to need more than 256 gigs. I would agree. So we're going to give him a terabyte hard drive as well. I think we're going to go Seagate Barracuda. I just think they're extremely reliable. It's really not going to let me choose 1 terabyte from here. Okay, fine. Seagate, 720 RPM. Price down. Seagate Barracuda terabyte, Seagate Barracuda, just like my drive here. Yep, so that's the same drive that I'm using in my computer right now, 7200, so it's going to be a pretty quick hard drive. We're going to add that in really quick. And so he's going to have a terabyte hard drive to put everything together, a 256 hard drive, SSD, NVMe to boot up his system. And he's going to have 16 gigs of RAM at a very high frequency, and then a Wi-Fi based motherboard, all starting to look really, really good. We're going to go into case now, look at cases. This is where it can get interesting. So I want 2 things for his case. So the 590 and the Ryzen 5 1600 specifically tend to spew out a lot of hot air. I had a bunch of cases that didn't have a really good cooling solution before I finally got to the Corsair 540. Carbide 540, and this thing's phenomenal. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 3 intake fans and then 3 exhaust fans. Phenomenal, really phenomenal case. Never had a temping problem ever. I literally never go above 50 degrees on my GPU, and definitely never above like 45, 50-ish on my CPU either. Phenomenal. I would like to find a similar solution for him, but also something that's kind of relative to his price. I want a couple of things. So I think a window would be nice. I think acrylic is what we're looking for. I don't think power supply shroud would be great. That micro ATX. I seem to have taken half the options off of the table. Let's go ahead and go all here. See if I can get something a little bit better. Fractal Design 1000, what I used to use. That does not have any airflow whatsoever. There's no way to realistically put a lot of airflow in that. So we're going to take that away as an option. That was my first ever case. It was a pretty good case for a long time when I had a 1050 in it and then a 580 in it. But when I put the 590 in it, it was just overheating all the time, and I couldn't afford to keep going with it, keep rolling with it. So we're going to look to get away from that. The master box looks nice. None of these look great. I want to go with a Fractal Design case I know a little bit about, because I know that I think he would like the style of it. And I don't necessarily want to incorporate that into his build, but I think it's the Focus G. What do I have that's... Oh, it's that. And that. And where did the Focus G go? There's the Focus G. Is it really ATX? It's ATX mid tower. It's a full-blown ATX. So we want to give him a little bit of that. A Focus G Mini. Okay, so it's going to come with those 2 case fans because it's showing it in pictures. Like a lot. It's not going to come with a rear exhaust fan, which we will need to have to rectify eventually. which we can go to Best Buy and rectify when I do that. It's got 2 drive bays, which is going to be super nice. We'll put both of the drives in there. It's going to have plenty of space for the GPU and overhead to kick it out through. We'll put the power supply facing up so it can kick out that exhaust as well. Pull in exhaust. That'll be good. We'll get another exhaust fan going that way as well. This looks like a pretty good case. It's going to have like that little itty bitty race car aesthetic that I think he'll like. See, like kind of right here, kind of like that grill light up kind of vibe. He's into race cars right now. So that's $325 is definitely reasonable for a motherboard, some RAM, hard drive, SSD, and a Focus G case. Let's go ahead and look at what all of this would cost if I wasn't paying for most of it. And in a way, like long-term paying it, especially with the way GPU prices are that right now, that's not fair. So yeah, it's $1,000 value of a computer, even right now. I think if we even took this down to what I actually paid for it, which I think was $210 for the RX 590 instead of the price inflation. So he's getting about an $800 PC gift from me, or $800 value for free. So I think this is a really, really good PC for him. I think this is going to be a first awesome PC, Master Race PC, to get him in, play a bunch of games with his friends, meet his needs from a Wi-Fi perspective and from a storage perspective. It's going to play all the AAA titles that he wants to play, all the FPSs, all the Call of Duties, all the he plays Fortnite and Rocket League too, so all those are going to be awesome. 550 power supply will get him away for a decent upgrade into probably the 1660 series if I get the money for that, or probably low 200 series or 2000 series for RTX, excuse me. And then that CPU lasts him forever. So I think this is the build. I think I'm super excited to do like an update video for my rig, and then start that series kind of that way as well. So upgrading my rig, kind of letting you see where that is at, and then we'll do a build video for his build, and then we'll obviously do a surprise vlog as well. So if you guys are interested in any of that, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can see those videos. If you liked this video, go ahead and give it a like. If you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions about PC building, what I should do better, what I should do more of, leave a comment down in the comment section below, or go ahead and dial into my link down below to my Discord, where I have quite a few things for PC building and gaming, chat rooms and stuff like that for you guys to talk to my community. They're really, really cool. And obviously I stream every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Twitch. If you guys are interested in that, go check me out. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Like I said, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.